It is Saturday, January 29th, and we are in the middle of pig season. Almost over though.
Getting close.
Getting close. So we've got our first processing date, so it's a little sad right now, seeing the piggies, but it's part of the process because we have folks out there counting on these guys. They're doing really good, but there's a few things that we need to do with them. First thing would be moving them. So we haven't moved them yet. I think we're planning on doing that next week, right? Hopefully you get some time to actually move them out of this initial spot, get them onto some clean ground for that last month or two. But one of the things that we have been dealing with is our IBC tote water, which is actually doing really good. Just filled this with water. It's actually doing really good. But one of the things that we know is going to become a problem, especially as it warms up, is algae in this tank. So had a good friend of the farm, Darren, thank you for another great suggestion on the IBC tote. He found a cover that we bought on Amazon. It's about $30 to $40, so not too expensive. And instead of trying to paint this constantly, we're gonna use this cover. There's a little pocket on top.
Yeah. I got the one that you don't have to take the whole thing off or unzip it.
Well, damn. We usually think things are going to be easy, and a lot of times here on the farm they're not as easy as you think, but that was pretty simple. This one's kind of nice. It's got a little flap on the top. I think we saw that, so you can see it's very easy to get to the spigot for filling it, and then the zipper in the front keeps everything kind of back and enclosed so that you're not getting the sunlight penetrating it, which is the problem when it comes to algae. Now obviously this is pretty thin material. I don't know that it'll last more than a season. I suppose we'll see. If nothing else, Arizona is a pretty darn good test of whether or not things like this will actually hold up. So one of the things that we've been challenged with this year, actually all of us have been to some extent, is inflation. It definitely has affected the price of feed. Now, we are trying a few things as far as how we want to finish the pigs. One of our favorite ways of doing that is actually mesquite bean pods. We've talked about that before, but we don't have those, at least not this year. We're working on that. So what we're trying to do this year is a little something different with finishing these pigs, and commonly you would do things that are happening in the fall, because in most places that's when you're finishing your pigs. For us here in Arizona, in the desert area, we finish them in the early spring, winter time like you're seeing now. So we don't have things like apples falling from the trees and acorns and that kind of thing. But of course what we do have access to is corn. So while we're not going to take them off of their regular feed, as they continue to consume more and more as they get larger, we don't want that to stop. We don't want to forsake that muscle mass that they're putting on, but at the same time we would like to add a little extra fat into there as well. So what we are trying is corn, which is very, very common. What we're going to do a little bit differently though is we are going to slightly ferment this corn and see whether or not that's a little more palatable. We tried just the dry corn and they'll eat it. They're fine with that, but you can see it's passing through them at the same time, kind of like it does us. So we're gonna see if maybe taking this cracked corn and fermenting it a bit might actually make a little bit of a difference for us. So what I have here is about half a 5-gallon bucket full of cracked corn that we get from Tractor Supply, and about half a bucket of water. So we're gonna go ahead and mix the two together, cover this for a day or two, and see whether or not it makes a difference. You guys know, if you watched our vlog from last weekend, we were talking about the fact that we're testing out another option as far as in lazy man's way of propagating some different cuttings. We have Shangri-La mulberry cuttings here, black Pakistan mulberry cuttings here, some space to add some additional black Pakistan that we're going to be pruning and doing a video for you guys on today. And then back here we have the ever-bearing mulberries. We're also going to be pruning our fig trees this weekend, and we have a couple of varieties there that we're going to be keeping cuttings from and trying this method out as well. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can get some propagation done for you guys. We've had a lot of folks ask us if we sell fruit trees, and we weren't planning on doing that as far as the farm enterprise is concerned, but with as many questions or requests as we've had, we figure maybe some things that you don't commonly find here in Arizona might be a good option. So we'll see how this does. We're keeping our fingers crossed. We're here at the front of the farm. We're still early here this morning. You can see we're getting some sunshine onto some of these trees up here. This is our champagne loquat. Of the 4 varieties, this is the smallest overall tree, but we did notice that we started getting flowering on this thing much earlier than a couple of the other varieties. And more importantly, what we have on this tree is fruit. We have a really good fruit set on this small tree. Now we probably will thin this just a little bit. The tree is not very big, but Lori and I love loquats. And now that this has been in the ground for just over a year, maybe a year and a half, we definitely will leave some of the fruit on here. We get a lot of questions on the loquat trees and some confusion maybe as far as what you need to do as far as taking care of the tree. And do you protect it in the summertime? Do you protect it in the wintertime? Do you need to hand pollinate? Do you need to do all these other things? And the answer is usually no, you don't need to do all those things. You guys know that we have our trees in full sun here. This is no exception. In fact, this is right in the middle of the front area of the farm here. So it gets full blazing sun with absolutely nothing around it. We've got a pathway that we have designed at the front here, so there's literally nothing to shade this tree at all. And it went through last summer, no issues whatsoever. They do slow down like the rest of the trees during the summertime. You'll see some crisping leaves and things like that. But if you follow the principles that we show you guys here when it comes to how you design your irrigation rings and the heavy mulch and the proper planting techniques, the fertilizing schedule that we use, which is the same as the rest of the fruit trees, you can see what we have here. We did not pollinate this by hand. We did not cover it during the summer. We did not cover it during the winter. And we have a whole lot of fruit on this young tree. Now this isn't the only one that has fruit on it. I can't remember if it's our Macbeth or our Gold Nugget. Either way, we've got some fruit that's just finally starting to set and starting to develop here. You can see that. So maybe not quite as heavy as the champagne loquat. We also did notice that this one was a little bit later as far as when it flowered. This was the last one to flower. There's actually still some flowers on it now, but I am seeing that we are starting to get some fruit set on here also, at least what appears to be fruit set. And more importantly, you can see just how well this tree is still growing here in the middle of winter. Loquats actually do really well in the cold. So planting time is key when it comes to these trees. We talked about that when we planted them. These were planted in October of 2020, and here we are in January of 2022. We have fantastic growth on this tree all the way through summer and into fall, and you can see the flowering and fruit set that we're getting on this loquat as well. So really encouraging to see this. The only one that's not doing quite as good is this one over here. This is our Big Jim loquat, and one of the major differences you can probably see just out of the camera is I'm in the shade. This tree not doing quite as good as the other 3 that are always in full sun. Now during the summertime, this one does basically get full sun all day, but during the winter, not as much. Now one thing I am seeing is some nice strong growth that's pushing out here just over the last few weeks. We've got some real strong growth here you can see that's coming out. So I'm not concerned that this tree is struggling. It's doing fine, but the growth is definitely not as strong as the trees that even in the wintertime are getting that full healthy dose of sunshine. Oh.
ways, and then just put, so you cut in between them.
And we want that facing up?
Yeah, so you just plant it like in there, sideways.
So, like that?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Booyah. How diggity dog. So one of the things that we do is we do consultations for folks, and pruning season, we've been doing pruning consultations. We were at Maria's house last week. Thank you, Maria, for the sugarcane that you shared with us. So we are gonna attempt to root these out. We have 2 different methods that Lori found online. So what did we do with these?
So the potted ones we planted it horizontal.
So just like this.
Yeah, because it roots out right at that center joint of the plant. So that's where it roots out. So
Okay.
we planted it horizontal in the pots, lightly covered it, and then hopefully it'll root out and grow up from there.
And we're gonna use the outbuilding as our greenhouse, basically.
Correct, yeah.
To keep these a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
Stays in the 60s, 55, 60 in here. And then what's this? What's going on here?
This one, we had just stuck it in water. It has several of those little buds or nodes on here. So as that starts to hopefully bud out, start growing shoots, then we can transfer it to soil, a pot with soil.
So basically we have absolutely no idea what we're doing.
I watched a video.
You watched it, it's YouTube. It's kind of like this, right? So we have no clue whether this is gonna work or not.
No.
At least in Arizona.
Yeah.
But we know they grow in Arizona.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Because we got one at Maria's.
Because we got one at Maria's. So thank you, Maria. We're going to give it a shot, see whether or not we can get one of these to take. Now, wouldn't it be something to be in Arizona and have pigs finished on sugarcane? Right? I mean, we can chop them down right now. Nothing that would stop you. So,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. We'll see. Tastes good. But you know what? The smell of potting soil and pig manure and who knows what else on my hand, that's probably not a good idea. Oopsie. One of the other things that you saw us doing was the rest of our black Pakistan mulberries. We pruned those today. We did film that video for you guys. We should have it up here in the next couple of weeks to give you guys an idea of what we're doing with those first year black Pakistans in the back.
Yeah.
And they have grown impressively.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is. It is. If this is your first time here, this is one of our weekly vlogs. We try to give an update each week in these vlogs to kind of give everybody an idea what's going on around the farm, share some things that we're trying out from time to time, but would love to have you as a subscriber, and share the content. If you know anybody that is into this kind of thing, it definitely helps us here when you share it. Any questions or comments? Where? Down below. Leave those down below. And oops. And our Amazon shop, that is a free, painless way to help support the channel and what we're doing here. If you start with the link that I have down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
So can you.
there you go. Come on, sweetie.
I don't know.
Why did I get the cheek?
Because I was thinking.
I don't want the cheek.
You're doing great.
I know. It's like you got a government job. We got 14 people watching and 1 man working. Sounds like the Department of Transportation. Is it the gold nugget? Macbeth?
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna have to do a word association because Macbeth is gonna remind me of Shakespeare, and that's the pasture. Louis Pasteur, Shakespeare. I'm gonna put these together somehow.
One of the videos that I'd watched, they actually like press these and get the juice out of them.
Yeah, yep. Or you just gnaw on it.
Or, yeah, but instead of having to gnaw on it.
It kind of tastes like a coconut?
Plant? Oh.